Yo, what up, squad? All right, so since I built my first ever gaming PC, which major shout out to y'all, man, for showing love on that video, because I think right now, we're sitting at like 42,000 views on that video. Since then, right, I've kind of had like this bug of wanting to build more PCs. So here we are, man. So I'm gonna be walking you guys through my unique way of building out my first ever streaming PC, because I told y'all the live streams are coming here on the channel. So comment down below, man, if you guys are ready for that, because listen, we about to take shit over on YouTube, man. So let's get it, let's go. Alright, so I'm about to narrate this video here like Morgan Freeman in a National Geographic special, but the only difference is, listen, man, I'm new to PC building and I don't have a clue as to what the hell I'm doing, but we're gonna figure this thing out. First, we gotta light our candle, man, and set the vibes. Alright, now we ready. So as you guys can see, man, I got a lot of stuff here from NZXT that they was cool enough to send out to your boys, so shout out to them. Alright, so we're gonna start things off here with the NVIDIA 4080 Founders Edition graphics card, man, which I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it was hard to actually get this bad boy for a while, which is crazy because I bought this 4080 like over a year ago and I'm just now putting this bad boy into a build. Listen, don't judge me, y'all. All that matters is that we're here now. Now, the next thing we got is the N7 Z790 for this Intel build as the motherboard. And yeah, I know, don't come at me in the comments about everything that's happening right now with Intel. I know they got some issues, but listen, I done already dropped the bag on this i7 chip, so we about to use this bad boy. Now, the next thing we gotta do is we gotta cool everything down when it comes to the Intel i7 CPU. So I'm going with the Kraken Elite 360 RGB AIO liquid cooler. Whew. It's a long ass name, man. Who don't like some good RGB within their setup? Listen, I know I do, so we doing it. Then what's a PC, man, with no power? I'll tell you, it's pointless. It's just like pants with no pockets. That's why NZXT, man, was cool enough to hook your boy up with the C1200, which is a power supply of 1200 watts, which is more than enough for this build that we're using, but again, here we are. Then we got our Thermaltake RAM cards that are 32 gigabytes of RAM for this build, and our i7 Intel CPU chip. And for some storage, I'm putting here a 2 terabyte 990 Pro M.2, which is going to be just for applications as well as a boot drive. But I'm also installing this 8 terabyte 3.5 hard drive that's going to store all of my streaming clips that you guys are going to be seeing real soon on the channel. So make sure you guys are sub to the channel so you don't miss out on that. Now, this next part, I'm not going to lie, it's probably going to trigger some people out there, me sitting this next to the PS5 and then removing it like I'm never going to use it again. I mean, nah, listen, I'm messing with y'all, man. It's still PS5 gang over here for life, but PC is now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man, it's strongly in the conversation. But this NZXT case I'm using is the H9 Flow case that has a full front glass look to it, and this is gonna look so dope within the setup. All right, so now that you guys have seen all of the pieces and everything that we're putting into this setup here, it's time to now get the motherboard put together. Now, the first thing that I personally like to do is I like to put the M.2 SSD in, since this is literally probably one of the easiest things that you can do for a PC build. For this one right here, it's just a couple of screws that releases the heatsink plate that's over top, then just align the pins into the motherboard at like a 45-degree angle. Don't do too much because you might mess around and break those pins. So just push it in slightly, man, and then you just screw it down, put it in place, put the cover back on, and then we set. Now let's go ahead and get this i7 CPU chip installed. Now I can't front with y'all, this part I was nervous as hell, man, because I was just praying and hoping that I didn't break any of the pins. But after just sitting it right into the slot and you just align the cutouts here, and then you just pull the lever down and it just fits right in place. But boy, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, hey, your boy was out. Hey, I was sweating bricks. Now, the next thing we need to install is our RAM sticks. Right now, this one here that I'm actually showing you guys in the video here is the Thermaltake ones, but I did end up swapping these out for some Corsair ones. So the reason why I did that was because I actually had the Thermaltake ones is going to be used for the gaming PC that I already showed you guys. If you haven't watched it, I'll pop it right up here on the screen for you guys to check out. But I had the Corsair ones literally coming in house, but then they end up getting delayed in shipping. So I just had to go ahead and use the ones that I had. But just wanted to let you guys know I did swap them out for the Corsair RAM sticks. Instead, I just feel like these are just a little bit better than the Thermaltake ones. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. On this part here, when I was installing the RAM sticks, I had to push down hard as hell. And I was like, I didn't really want to push down too hard because I was afraid that I could potentially break something within this motherboard. Because if you're pushing down too hard and you end up breaking something, listen, your entire motherboard is chalked and you're gonna have to end up spending more money on a new motherboard. And I'm telling you right now, that is an expensive mistake. But I just had to push down just a little bit harder and everything just clipped right in place. So I didn't have to spend no extra money. Now next it's time to go ahead and get inside of the case. So I started with unscrewing the screws off of the back so that way I can actually get inside of the case to just kind of mount this motherboard inside of the case. So I just removed the front glass panel here as well as the top panel, and the back panel was just open this whole H9 flow case up. Now my dumb self, right? I thought it was a good idea to try and install the motherboard with it standing up. And yeah, that's definitely not how you're supposed to do this. So I recommend laying this bad boy down on this side so that way you can just have a flat, smooth surface to be able to easily mount the motherboard and just screw everything into the back of the case. And yeah, don't make the mistakes I made. All right, so now that we got the motherboard installed, next thing we need to go ahead and figure out is how these fans go on the radiator for the AIO CPU liquid cooler. Now, one thing that I learned here about fans, which is something I want to point out here, is that you have to understand the airflow of the fans. This is a crucial, and I mean a crucial part, and something that I feel like you guys need to plan out before you even start a build, because I'm telling you right now, this part took me forever, although you're not gonna see it here on camera, but this part took me forever to kind of understand. And I'll leave a video that I watched and I'll have it linked down in the description section below for you guys to check out. It just explains it in just perfect detail. But in short, some of the fans need to be for intake of cool air, and then some of the fans need to be set for exhausting the hot air to keep your PC cool. So just make sure you are setting and turning your fans around the right way before screwing everything in, because you don't want to get to that part where you turn everything on and then you just notice your CPU and your GPU is just heating up out of control. But here all I'm doing, man, is just setting them up here in the radiator and then installing it into the top of the case, which will be for exhausting the heat out of the case away from the CPU as well as the GPU. And side note, when I was building this, one of the things that I realized is NZXT has some of the easiest fans to connect to their controller, and then you just plug all of that into one single port on the back of your power supply, and then you're good to go. Like, it is goated for sure. Now this next part, which I didn't really show, is that you need to make sure you put thermal paste on the CPU, which I did, but because I messed up and I didn't have the bracket over the CPU the right way, I had to take the damn AIO liquid cooler off of the CPU and then readjust it, and then I just put it back on, screw everything together, and it worked. I can't lie, y'all, this part was frustrating as hell to me, but it was on my part that I messed up because I didn't fully understand how it was actually supposed to go and how it was actually supposed to clip onto the back of it. It was a whole thing, but either way, y'all, it's my first time, so just give me some grace. All right, so the next thing I need to do, man, is just install my bottom fans that's gonna be pulling cool air into my PC. Now this part here, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man, this was super freaking easy. Now there was a couple of times I did drop some screws and I had to like take everything off, but I ended up figuring it all out and got it in there. This is like the easy part for you guys to do. And now that we got that in there, like, it's starting to look like I know what the hell I'm doing. Oh snap, baby, let's go. Now the next part is probably the most non-fun part about building a PC, and that is routing all of the freaking cables, then finally running everything into a power supply. Now, because I rock with y'all and I got love for y'all, I'm actually gonna spare y'all seeing me having to freaking reroute all of these cables and all of that. Like, just know when you are building out a PC, you have to make sure every single thing is plugged into the power supply, from the fans to the motherboard to the case to the GPU. I mean, literally everything has to be plugged in, or you gonna plug everything up and then you're gonna press that button to power it on and ain't nothing gonna work. Now, one thing that I gotta mention that I like about this case is everything has a perfect spot for storing everything, like this back door compartment that literally hides all of the cables, and then the little cubby hole here for the power supply that I'm screwing into the case for it to hold. All right, cool. So now that we have our power supply in here, now it's time to put in our GPU. Now, some people actually do this kind of the opposite way. They put the GPU in first before they put the power supply in, but you know, I don't do nothing the same as everybody else. So we're installing the Founders Edition NVIDIA 4080 into this build. Now, when I would watch videos on how to install these, I would always be sitting back and wondering, how the hell do these people be getting the GPUs to stay in place? Because I'm like, these bad boys is freaking huge. Well, all you guys got to do is literally just push it in into the only slot that's on the motherboard where the graphics card is actually going to fit. But before you guys do that, you need to remove a few of the PCIe slots that's on the back, which is basically these little metal slots that I'm removing that you can see, because this is going to allow you guys to have access to the ports that's directly on the GPU, because that's the display port as well as the HDMI ports that you're going to be using versus the ones that's on the case. So this part was funny because I couldn't actually get which PCIe slots I needed to remove and how many I needed to remove. So first I only removed just one of them, and then I removed two, and then that wasn't enough, and then I said, you know what, forget it, I'm removing the first 3 freaking slots. Only to find out I only had to remove 2 of them. Once I install it, all I have to do is just use the screws that come with it, and I just screw the GPU into place, and just like that, it's gonna hold and you're gonna be good to go. So now you guys know, you know, you just push it into the only slot where it'll fit. And then from there, you just plug the provider cable into the front of the GPU, and then the other side of that cable is gonna run into the power supply that I mentioned that everything gotta be plugged into. And the last thing I need to put in here that I picked up from Elgato was the 4K capture card that I can just install this right into my PC, so that way I don't have to include like extra stuff on my desk. Basically, this installs right into the motherboard just like the graphics card did, and you just remove some of the PCIe slots again, those little metal plat things on the back, and you just screw that in place and then you're set. So if you guys are wondering, like, CKid, what the heck is this thing here? Because I know it's not your graphics card. Like, what are you using a capture card for? Basically, what this will do is going to allow me to record my gameplay from my other PC, which is the gaming PC that's going to allow me to record it, so that way I can release that content here on the channel separately and all of that. Otherwise, I would have no way of recording any of my live streams or just any of my gameplay in general. All right, so now that we have that installed, the only thing left we need to do is just to tidy up all of these cables, so that way it's going to look, you know, somewhat decent in this case, because right now, I'm gonna be real with y'all, it looks crazy right now, but it's all right, y'all, because we just gonna stuff and just push everything in the back there, and then we're gonna close the door, and then we're gonna be good to go. And then from there, we're gonna put the glass back on the case, and we're gonna put the top piece back on, tighten up all the screws, and then we good to go. Oh, before we actually boot this bad boy up, and I'll let you guys see it, we first need to peel off the plastic, which I can't lie, this is probably the most satisfying part of this entire build. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, man, we got that off. Now we ready, man. Let me go ahead and show you the final reveal of my streaming PC from NZXT. Let's go. All right, man, so after some hours, y'all, that was a cool build to put together, man, and I personally think the NZXT build here with the H9 flow came out dope. So major shout out again, man, to NZXT for hooking your boy up with this PC here build for me to get on the channel for you guys, as well as being my first ever streaming PC for me to kind of kickstart some dope shit that we got coming here on the channel for you guys. Like I said, we got our gaming PC over there, we got our streaming PC here. We stream ready now, baby. Side note, although I did want to point out this PC here is built for me for streaming, but I did want to let you guys know that you can use this PC here for gaming as well as streaming at the same time if you guys want to. I just kind of decided to separate my streaming from my gaming PC, but it's definitely not needed at all, but you can game on here as well. It is way more powerful enough to be able to do that. But I got my gaming PC over there, I got my streaming PC right here, and I'm hyped for it, man. But if you guys have any questions, you already know, man, you can let me know down in the comment section below, because y'all had a whole lot of questions when it came to my first ever gaming PC, man, and I was able to help you guys, whether it was over on here or whether it was on IG or whether it was on Twitter or X. So let me know, man, if you guys got any other questions. Other than that, I'll see y'all in the next one. Squad, we out.